Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Kim, a fairly average mum, and today I thought I'd film a get ready with me story time. So let's get cracking. Hiya. So, Happy New Year to you all, and thank you for all of you that's wished me Happy New Year as well. I will gradually go through my comments and hopefully be able to respond to quite a lot of them. But yeah, I just thought I'd get on today. The lights dreadful today. I'm really sorry if everything looks a bit yellowy. It's because it started bucketing down outside, right? Absolutely bucketing down. So the light's shocking. So anyway, I thought I'd film another one of these shuffling. I'm watching because twice I've tried filming this and you've started to sort of, the camera's moving down. Don't know what's wrong with my camera stand. Let me just adjust you. Are you going to stay? Right, let's fingers crossed you're there. Right, okay, so while sort of over Christmas reminds you of other Christmases, doesn't it? And New Year's reminds you of other New Year's. And that's why, for a lot of people, it's a really tough time. Because it reminds them of other things that are not very happy that have happened at Christmas. But while it was Christmas, I was chatting to everybody, obviously because I were on my own for the majority of Christmas. But I were phoning people, they were phoning me, and we were chatting a lot about things that were remembered from back in the day, you know, other Christmases that were remembered. So I thought, I'm going to get on and do a video and chat to you a little bit about some of the things that have happened to us, some of the stories that have happened during Christmas and the New Year. And I thought I'll stick my makeup on while I'm doing it, although I'm going nowhere, right? I'm not going out. I might have to pop out to the local shop to get myself some milk, but other than that, I'm not going anywhere. Right, okay. So let me grab my bag. I try and put all these together before I come on, just to have a little bit of preparedness. Anyway, I've got my water egg here, right? I had to show you it. It's hilarious. It was funny before I added water to it, but it's even more hilarious now. It's honestly, who thought that were a good idea? Anyway, right, where's my moisturiser? I tell you, I'm all over the place. Absolutely all over the place. Right, okay, I better show you what I'm putting on. I'm using this Avant. What's it got in it? Pink Orchid Hyaluronic Glycerin, White Peony. Okay, I really like it. It separates a bit though in the bottle, so I have to sort of mix it. You don't need that much of it. It's not got the most pleasant look to it, let's be honest. But anyway, it smells really nice and it helps my skin out a bit. Right. If I put too much on, I end up spreading it up my arms. And this arm is shockingly badly scratched, right? It's me that scratched it. I've not been in a fight or anything, you know what I mean? What happened was I had me jabs. So I had me one for the illness and my flu jab. Problem is, since then, my skin has been incredibly itchy. I don't know what that's about. But I try not to itch it through a day, but on a night time when I'm in bed, I've clearly been scratching and it's driving me nuts. I need to get some antihistamine tablets. That'll probably work on it. I do get allergic to a lot of things. Anyway, that's my moisturiser. So I thought I'd tell you about some of the stories from when I was young and, you know, when my kids were young and stuff. Right, next up, I'm going to try this Hello Happy by Benefit foundation. A lot of people don't like this. I've not heard brilliant reviews about it, but I bought it before I saw any reviews of it. And I think the colour might just be okay for me. Might be a bit light, but we'll try it anyway. Let's give it a go. Oh my goodness, that is a bit light. Let's mix it with a bit of my BB cream, so I don't end up looking like Elizabeth I when I'm finished. So I'm going to mix it with a bit of this darker Avon BB cream. I'll just mix it around on my hand. That's a lot darker because clearly this is the darkest one I've got apart from that. But my skin's somewhere between the two, so I'm just going to mix it with my finger on my hand. Right, now when we were kids and back in the day, we were skinned. My mum were on her own with us. Because Fathers for Justice then, right, just didn't exist. And my dad's idea of justice was to hightail it away and start a family with somebody else. Do you know what I mean? Right. Okay, that sounds awful. I'm making jokes out of stuff like that. But honestly, you make the best out of what you've got, don't you? And my mother certainly did. My mother were brilliant. Honestly, absolutely brilliant. I better get a mirror because I'm trying to do it in camera and I can't see anything. There, got a mirror. Okay. So, that's at least a bit better in colour. It's not brilliant, but it's a bit better in colour. Okay, so my mum were on her own with us 4 kids. And we didn't have a lot of money, you know what I mean? Just, when you're on your own with 4 kids, don't matter how much you work, you know, you've got to divvy the money up between us. So, yeah, right. So we didn't have a right lot of money. So when it got to Christmas, we used to plague my mother, please, can we have a real Christmas tree? So for years we didn't. We had an artificial one because it meant that every year my mum didn't have to pay out for another tree year after year. And also, she used to wait, what do you do with it afterwards? Do you know what I mean, right? What do you do with this real Christmas tree afterwards? But this one year, we plagued my mum, please, can we have a real Christmas tree? And she agreed. So there were a local shop that were down the way, right? And honestly, it were like an Aladdin's cave of stuff. He had everything. The first day he ever opened this shop, the guy, all he was selling were bars of fudge and cashmere jumpers. I'm not making that up. That's what he was selling on the very first day he opened up. But he'd been there for years and years and years. And, you know, a bit of a local celebrity. Everybody went into his shop. And he decided this one year to sell Christmas trees. But it wasn't those Christmas trees like you get now, where they're super good at keeping the needles and stuff. It was just a basic Christmas tree. So my mum buys this Christmas tree. We put it up, get it decorated and everything. About 5 days before Christmas, it's a stick standing in the corner. All the needles have fallen off it. It is literally a stick with branches, no needles on anywhere on this Christmas tree, just standing in the corner, right? My mum said, we can't have this over Christmas. We're going to have to get some else. Of course, she's cursing because she's paid money for a real one, and we now don't have an artificial one because it was so past it. This was, I think, the only reason she'd agreed to buy a real one was because our artificial one was so past it. So she manages to scrape together some money and sends me into local town to buy a Christmas tree. Okay, I remember exactly how much money I had. I had a £5. Right, now, things in those days, you didn't get bargain shops so much like you do now, right? So a £5, for all that sounds like it were a lot of money. I mean, I must have been out 13, 14, something like that. It sounds like it's a lot of money. Really, it wasn't when it came to buying Christmas trees. So I set off into local town. My mum says to me that I can't spend any more. I've got a crease on my face. I mean, like I've been sleeping on this side and it's still creased up. Anyway, right, I think that's going to have to do for my foundation. It's okay. I do look a bit powdery, but we'll put some blusher on and try and resurrect it. Okay, so where's my blusher? I have got one. Oh, this is it. I got this Ciate London one out. No, sorry, Lottie London one. So I'm going to use that. Okay. I've got some new brushes from B&M that I think are still down here. I'm going to grab one. These are my new brushes from B&M. So I'm going to use the sort of biggest one as blusher. Right, which is that one. Okay, I'm just dropping stuff all over the place. Oh, it's quite jazzy, this. Let's give it a go anyway. Right, so she sends me off into local town with a £5. Right, oh my days, it's too dark. And so I go, there's 2 shops basically that have got Christmas trees left. And it's getting on towards the end of the day, so I'm limited for time. One shop was this real bargain shop. And the tree was shockingly bad. It was like made of tinsel. And it looked a bit like the twig that I'd left at home, which had tinsel branches coming out. There were no filler ones. There were just random ones coming out of it. It were a really, really bad tree. I'm going to have to try and blend this out. I'll use a clean brush, try and get this toned down a bit. Right, so there were that one. Or in Woolworths, there were a smaller one that were really nice, but it were like $5.99. I didn't have $5.99, I had a fiver. So having gone backwards and forwards between these two shops, trying to decide, do I leave the tree, do I go home, or what have you, I bought this bargain one. Oh my days, when I took it home, talk about laugh, my family fell about. They're like, couldn't you have bought a better one? No, I couldn't. That's the best you could get for your money. It was $2.99, right? Honestly, it stood there. We put it up year after year. It must have been there for about 5 years, right, before my sister and my younger brother, because I'd left home at this point, before they eventually talked my mum into getting another real tree, right? It was literally a tinsel stick with other tinsel bits just sticking out. Like I say, no filler branches. There were no resemblance of a tree. It looked more like a mug stand, right? Okay. We decorated it with everything. It still looked shockingly bad, but at least we had a tree up. Okay, next up I'm using this. And I brought myself a highlighter, but I've realised there's some in this. I'm using this Morphe Manny MUA palette, right, which I really like. And it has got 2 highlighters in it. I'm going to use this bottom one. See whether that I can get that to work for me. I'm using this brush here. I don't even know if it's an highlighter brush, but I'm using it, you know what I mean? Right, so yeah, so we stuck with this tree. It was shocking, absolutely shocking. It was so bad, it were embarrassing if anybody had to come in house. Do you know what I mean? It were really, really embarrassing. But nonetheless, my mum got her money's worth out of it, because it did go up year after year, that Christmas tree. It was so funny. And it became a bit of, you know, one of those sort of family jokes, you know what I mean? The Christmas tree. There's photographs of us all sitting on Christmas Day, because I used to have a camera, and back in those days, it was a camera. You took a picture, well, like a digi camera, right? You took a picture, you didn't know what the picture looked like, and then you took another one, and it were like a surprise when you got them developed and sent back to you. Anyway, oh, I've just mixed it with top one, never mind. So put a bit of highlighter on and see whether this will work for me. Yeah, I don't even know whether that side looks like it's got any blush. I'm going to put a bit more on. See whether I've got any left on my brush. Right, so have I got any blush on? Yeah, I have a bit. Okay, that'll have to do. Okay, so I don't know whether you used to do this as well. We used to do this crepe paper folding thing to make paper garlands, where you got 2 long strips, and then you would sellotape the 2 ends together and then fold them backwards and forwards, and when you opened them up, they'd make like a 2-coloured paper garland. We used to make them every year, and we used to decide on what colour theme we'd go for, right? And me and my sisters and my brother would sit making these paper garlands to put up. And all Christmas cards used to be strung up on a bit of string between 2 drawing pins and sort of slotted over. There were no little pegs or out like that involved in those days. Right, now I decided to show you a different way that I put my eyebrows on, because my favourite pencil has bitten the dust, right? It's run out. So I've got these. Where are they? These KVD, yeah. Kat Von D, they used to call it, didn't they? But KVD pots of eyebrow. You only need a tiny bit, as you can see from this. Now, sometimes I put it on with a chisel brush, but sometimes I put it on with a lip liner brush, you know. I just put a bit of this on, and then I try and draw on individual hairs on my brows. But I haven't done it for a while, so we'll have to see how this works out now. But yeah, I sort of draw on individual hairs and try and give my eyebrows some colour and shape. Okay, it doesn't set properly, that's the only thing with this. So if in the middle of the day you forget and you brush your hand over, your eyebrows halfway up into your hairline. But anyway, right, so yeah, we used to do that. And I'm sure loads of other people used to do it as well. And we used to buy them glittery decorations, my mother hated them, that we used to hang down from the ceiling. You know, there's like concertina-y things, but they were in tin foil. And we thought we were like, you know, really sophisticated, me and my sisters, when we were younger, and my brother. But obviously it looked as cheap as out. But anyway. Okay, I thought I'd tell you another story while I'm drawing on my eyebrows about New Year's Eve. Now, when I was young, there were not, Halloween wasn't a thing in the UK. It just was not a thing. We knew about it, but we didn't really do out for Halloween, right? So the dressing up day, the day when you used to get dressed up in fancy dress, were New Year's Eve, to go out round pubs, right? That was your dressing up day. So Christmas Eve, you used to have a really nice outfit. We always used to get ourselves something new to go out Christmas Eve. Well, I may have made that a bit dark. But Christmas Eve, we'd buy ourselves a really nice outfit, you know, that were quite Christmassy for going out. Usually something that had some sparkle or gold or silver on it somewhere. We used to get dressed up really nice on Christmas Eve. New Year's Eve, we'd get dressed up in fancy dress. Like I say, that was the time that everybody used to get dressed up. Now, I don't know whether that were just here, where I live, but that seemed to be a thing that people did. You know, you'd see people on programmes all dressed up and stuff on, you know, when they started doing these programmes from clubs and things, you'd see people all dressed up. Right, those eyebrows aren't even sisters. No chance. They're not even related, those eyebrows. But anyway, let's keep going with it, Kim, in the hopes that you can get them to at least resemble one another. Yeah, so every New Year, we used to go out dressed up in fancy dress to go around pubs, and so did everybody else. Like I say, I'm sure it wasn't just round here. Well, maybe it was just round here, but anyway, that's what used to happen. So, I've sort of semi-drawn my eyebrows on. The fact that it doesn't set is great, because when I go back to check it with my gigs on, I'll be able to rub out bits I don't like and add new bits on that, you know, I've missed. That'll have to do. Okay, right. So that's another way that I put my eyebrows on. Usually when I'm going out, because they end up a lot darker. But anyway, where's those other brushes that I got? Okay, I've got a couple of brushes that I got in that set from B&M. What colours am I going to use today? I'm going to use this colour here. What's it called? Leo. And I'm going to use Aries. Okay, on my eyes. So I'm going to start with Leo, put it all the way over, and then a bit on the inside and lower eyelid. Remember the name again. All right, okay. So every single New Year's, did me and my sister make ourselves get ourselves together some sort of fancy dress outfit. Now, there were fancy dress shops, you know, because there wasn't all this online stuff then. There were fancy dress shops. But on New Year's Eve, all best costumes had gone. And also, they were quite expensive. So a lot of the time, me and my sister used to make our own fancy dress costume cheaply, right? And we could both sew. My mum had a sewing machine, right? So we'd run ourselves some up. So this one year, we decided to go in a sort of 1920s style. And we bought this red lining material, which were about the cheapest fabric we could buy. And some tassels for around the bottom of it. We made ourselves a hair ribbon with feathers coming out of it and stuff like that. Right, so we go out on New Year's Eve, okay, wearing lining material. We had our underwear on, but basically wearing a lining material dress with nothing else, right, with shoes on. Flat, like, pump type shoes, I think we had, or it might have had a little heel on. And we're both dressed exactly the same, right? Because there's only 16 months between us. And we go out on New Year's Eve, right, at pubs. So we're going round having a nice old time. Frozen, right? Absolutely frozen. So we're going to last pub, right, that we're going to be in before going to club. And didn't realise, right, so we're in there for about maybe 2 hours. Do you know what I mean? Having a nice old time. Meanwhile, it has snowed outside, right? And when I say it snowed, it had settled on the ground, right? Absolutely. And it were about 6 inches of snow on the ground. All taxis stopped and everything, right? All of them. So now I'm going to put this Aries on in my crease, try and blend it, and a bit under on my lower eyelid. Okay, so all the taxis had stopped, right? Me and my sister completely oblivious to this. still inside the pub. It gets to midnight, and everybody's like got party poppers. I don't know if you remember them, like little party popper things. I don't even think they're that big of a deal anymore. But then, the only time you ever used to see them were on New Year's Eve. You know what I mean? We used to take some with us. So everybody been popping party poppers because it had got to like midnight and one thing and another. And we had streamers all around my necks and stuff. So did everybody else in pub. We were having a right old time. I must have been about 18. My sister must have been about 19 at this point, right? Making it sound like it was my first time that I'd gone out round pubs. It wasn't. It wasn't. There were no IDing people then. If you could afford to buy the drink, basically you got served. I know that sounds awful, but that's basically what it was like. Okay, so me and my sister, completely oblivious, are thinking we're going up to the club. Right, okay. So we think we're going up there to spend the rest of the evening. Open the door to the pub and realise there's a white out. Me and my sister are standing there in lining material, little pair of ballerina pumps on, all these streamers around my neck and a band with feathers in. And we've got to walk home because there's no taxis, right? Okay, I'm going to try and blend those two together, just using this other brush that had the lighter colour on, and blend it out a bit. It's mainly to get this bit at the outside not to be such an harsh line, because I'm not too fussed about the rest. I'm trying to make a silk purse out of a sow's ear, aren't I? You know what I mean? So it'll have to do. So yeah, we realise we've got to walk home in lining material and ballerina pumps in 6 inches snow. So we set off. Oh my goodness. I have literally never been as cold in my life. We might as well have been wearing nothing. The lining material was so thin. We hadn't taken coats, we hadn't taken anything. Because when we'd set off, you know, all we were bothered about were what we looked like. We didn't care about whether we were cold. And I think a lot of young people are like that. Sometimes I see young people going around on like endos and stuff like that. And I think, pet, you must be freezing. But they're not bothered, are they? You're not when you're young, you know, you're just bothered about what you look like. So anyway, that'll have to kind of do. Right, so, okay, what else have I got in here? Mascara, where are you? Here it is. Now I'm going to use, as always, my favourite mascara, which is this Lancome one. If you want a really nice mascara and you like quite a fluffy brush, I would highly recommend. I totally love this mascara, absolutely love it. So I'm going to use this one. Why not? You only live once. Okay, so we had to walk home. It's still snowing at this point. It hasn't stopped snowing, it's still snowing. Cars were struggling to get along roads. We have to walk what is essentially a 25-minute journey home. So not that far, but it were far enough when all you're wearing is lining material, you know what I mean? By the time we got home, we were saturated because the snow were falling on us and melting on us. And all the streamers, all these party popper streamers, the colour had leaked all round us. We had the colour on our neck for about 2 days because it had dyed our neck. Right, no amount of scrubbing were getting it out in one go. And we were absolutely saturated. We got through the door, my mother were like, oh my God. She fell about laughing. I mean, she felt sorry for us and got us towels and hot drinks and stuff. But she did fall about laughing. We looked at a shocking sight. But, you know, we had such a good time. And it was another story for the book, as my grandmother always used to say. Oh dear, blooming heck, stuff we did when we were younger. Let me know if you actually went out fancy dress on New Year's Eve, because I think that was the only day we thought we could do fancy dress. Now, kids get it out of the way at Halloween, don't they? But we didn't do that then. I honestly don't think we ever dressed up apart from on New Year's Eve. Which wasn't ideal, you know, because like I say, cold weather. But anyway, following year, got dressed in something a lot more sort of substantial to go out. Hey, goodness me. And then I thought I'd tell you a couple of stories about when I used to cook Christmas dinner at house. Right, so when my kids were little, the first time you ever cook a Christmas dinner, you're quite, like, worried, aren't you? You know what I mean? You are worried. But over years, you sort of get used to it and stuff like that, right? Okay. So, when my kids were little, we lived in a flat, and that were fine, in a masonette. And so I was right next to him all the way through Christmas. Then we moved into a bigger house, right? Because they were pulling down my flat. That's the truth. They all had to, everybody who lived in those flats had to move out over a period of time. They are in fact pulled down now. But so they rehoused us somewhere else, right? And this house were a new build. And it were really odd the way, well, I don't suppose it were that odd. It were a lovely house. I'm all glad to have it, although I preferred living in my flat, if truth be known. But it used to have, downstairs you had a garage. You didn't have a car, can't drive, you know what I mean? So downstairs there were a garage, and then a long corridor, a little toilet and sink, and then a big dining kitchen. And then your living room were up the first flight of stairs, right, okay. On the same floor as my bedroom, another bathroom, and then on the top floor were the other 3 bedrooms. So it were a 4-bedroom house, right? Brand new build. When it came to making Christmas dinner, I'm stood downstairs on my own, right? Because kids have all got their stuff, the presents and everything, are all talking to the mates and what have you. I've just blocked that. Are all talking to the mates on social media and texting and one thing and another. So I was stood in the kitchen for the most part on my own, right? They'd come down and visit with me in the kitchen, but while I'm peeling everything and doing everything, I was stood there on my own. So it is my tradition at Christmas to buy a bottle of sherry. I'm not embarrassed about it. Yeah, I buy a bottle of sherry. It reminds me of times gone by, and I love that. And I actually quite like the taste of it. But this one Christmas, I'm downstairs. I seem to be down there forever. Right, absolutely ever. During which time, I'd had more than one sherry in the kitchen, right, making Christmas dinner. Right, and so the kids had come down and helped me make pigs in blankets for them. It were all like vegan-y stuff. It were with bacon, which is what we call that fake bacon stuff, bacon and vegan sausages and what have you. But they're all there in pan, and I cling film over them while I'm making everything else, right? Of course, as the Christmas dinner's going on, and I've had like a couple of sherries, I forget I've put the plastic on it, stick it in the oven with plastic on. Honestly, the bit of Christmas dinner my kids were looking forward to the most, and when I pulled it out, there's like, I thought, what on earth's this? Melted cling film all over the top of it. All over the top of it, right? And then same year, right, having done that, I mean, it caused much amusement, and I did make some after that for kids on another day, because it were a bit of a disappointment for him, the fact that I'd completely ruined him. But later on that Christmas, I'm pulling like the food out of the oven, burnt my hand. So I spent the whole of Christmas dinner getting up and running my hands under the tap because it was starting to burn again, and then sitting down eating a bit more of Christmas dinner, and then going back to the tap, running my hands under the tap. Honestly, it's shocking. This is what sherry does to me. You know what I mean? It's what happens when you not drink a lot through the year, and then you think you're like 10 men when it comes to Christmas. You can like knock back 3 glasses of sherry and you'll be all right. I won't. You know what I mean? Oh dear, goodness me. Right, I'm going to find some lippy now. I know I've got some in this bag. Okay, the last one that I put on were absolutely dreadful. The last time I did one of these, it were awful. Somebody said it made me look dead, and I think it did and all. You know what I mean? No offence taken. It were that one. Right, I won't use that again. Look at it. It's that colour. Yeah, no. I don't need that on my lips. That one will be going. It's still in here from last time, but I know I've put like a lip pencil in here. Right, my lip pencil that I'm using is this Duce one, which I really, really like. I got it in a cohorted box that I got on voucher, and I love it. It's really nice. And the good thing about it is you don't need a lip liner at the same time. Just cover your whole lips with it. Oh dear. See what I mean? I quite like that colour. That's a lot nicer colour than that other thing. So yeah, I don't know whether it matches my eyeshadow, but you know, we're rolling with it. So I thought I'd tell you as well about the stuff we used to get at Christmas, right? Okay, so we used to always get, and I don't know if you did this as well, And it seems to be now people maybe still do it, I don't know, but some people seem to have a lot more. You know, at Christmas, they buy a lot more in. We had 1 tin of biscuits, like a family circle or something like that. If we were lucky, there were chocolatey ones in it. 1 tin of sweets, like Quality Street or Roses. Although you did, in the big tin of sweets, you did get more in than you do now. And my mum used to make a Christmas cake, which we loved, and she always used to make a tiny little one at the same time with a bit of the mixture, because the smell of Christmas cake cooking, we all wanted it straight away. So she'd put a little bit in a tin so we could all have a taste of it, and we all stirred a wish into it as well. While she was making it, we all went in, stirred a wish into it, and then she made the Christmas cake. So we'd have, like, this is pretty much set on my lips now, you know. This is what I like about it. It goes on really smooth and creamy, but it sets really well, so it don't come off quite so quickly. So yeah, so we'd have a Christmas cake, which always had marzipan and icing on it, and then it had so she'd put like icing over the top, but by the time you come over here, it wasn't like royal icing or all. It would add, it would just basically powdered sugar and water that she mixed up. And we used to make it so it looked like snow and stick some decorations in it and stuff. The Christmas cake were nearly bigger than I was, you know what I mean? It was so big. But I suppose it lasted us all the way over Christmas. She always bought some fruit, some nuts that you could crack, and some peanuts. And I think that were basically it, you know, to put on the side. And we always used to put those out, and we felt like we were like royalty. We had that much stuff. But that's basically what we used to get. And obviously she used to cook Christmas dinner, and we used to get gifts and things like that. But I don't remember it being like such an excess of food. Once those had gone, Christmas were done, you know what I mean? And the tin of biscuits might have been gone by sort of, I don't know, Boxing Day morning. And there wouldn't be a replacement for that. It would be like 1 tin of biscuits. But I think everybody did the same. I don't remember feeling like we were missing out. I've always felt like we had loads, you know. I just want to tell you this tale. I was out with my mother this one day, leading up to Christmas, and she went to this fruit and veg shop to get these, these nuts and fruit and stuff like that for Christmas. And the woman shouted from the back, while we're standing there, my mother nearly died, honestly, laughing. Linda, Jeff wants his nuts displayed in the window. Right, this is my mother. I could see her looking round, right, at everybody. Has anybody else heard this? Anybody else heard this? Nobody else absolutely batted an eye. My mum's face was scarlet, trying to stop us all from laughing. Linda, Jeff wants his nuts displayed in the window. Oh my days, what a day. Anyway, that's all my stories for now about Christmas and what have you. I hope you have some really lovely Christmas memories. I mean, even the disastrous ones have turned into funny stories in our family. And I'm sure other people are just the same. But that's everything for today. And that's my full face of makeup for today. You know, it's not a professional job, but I'm not working with the best canvas, you know. So, but that's everything for today. If you've liked this video, please give us a like. It really helps us out. And if you like this kind of content, you might want to consider subscribing. I've left all my contact details in the description box in case you want to contact me for any reason. But thank you very much for taking a few moments out of your day to spend with me. Bye!